So you ordered the removal, actually taking it down and removing this 115-year-old statue that's caused a lot of controversy before. Why did you decide to go ahead and do it now?
Al, I think in the last week, there's been a lot of unrest that's been warranted in our nation and cities across America and in Birmingham about the killing of George Floyd. That unrest spilled over into our city Sunday with people taking that frustration and anger out on defacing and attempting to destroy and take down a Confederate monument in a city park. They failed at that attempt, and I wanted to make sure that if I had to choose between more civil unrest in my city versus violating the state law and taking it down because it doesn't deserve to be there anyway, then I chose to protect the city to avoid any more civil unrest.
And for doing that, we hear your life's been threatened for taking this action. What's happened?
Unfortunately, in the state of Alabama, there's a lot of people who like to participate in revisionist history. They believe it's American to support the Civil War in relation to these Confederate monuments, but they're mad because we took the statue down. And yes, there have been several threats. But our security team is not only taking that serious as it relates to me and my protection, but City Hall as well as the citizens of Birmingham protection as well. I'll tell you this, though, Al, it's important to note that the city of Birmingham was not even a city during the Civil War. And we don't have time to worry about something that's not working for our city and relegates Black people to property and slavery. And so it's important that we take this down and move forward. And we accomplished that yesterday.
So yesterday, Alabama's Attorney General, Steve Marshall, filing a lawsuit against the city, saying that the removal violates the Alabama Memorial Preservation Act, which protects historic sites. He had sued. They had won. You had to pay a $25,000 fine. And so I'm assuming you're prepared to do that again. I
am. And you should know one of the things that prevented us from taking it down prior to this is that in the middle of the legislative session prior to the COVID-19, a bill was introduced to make it a $10,000 fine a day for either covering it up or removing it. But because of the coronavirus 19, that bill did not go forward. So we are in this position now with this civil unrest to pay this fine. And as I stated earlier, it's probably better for our city to pay this civil fine than it is to have more civil unrest in our city.
You know, speaking of that, as you've mentioned, there are protests in Birmingham after the death of George Floyd, and you personally have been at demonstrations. Why did you feel it was important to be there?
I think as elected officials, it's important to note that the art of protest, that the art of civil disobedience, that you need negotiations between those on the front line and elected officials. And so it's important for me to listen to them, hear them, understand, empathize with their issues, but at the same time, guard and protect the city. And so I shared with those out there that if they gave me 24 hours, that I would remove that statue that did not belong there in the first place. And I kept that word. Within 24 hours, we removed that statue.
Mayor, what's your message, not only for the people of your city, Birmingham, but for all Americans during this time?
That was quite simple. Our country is experiencing unrest right now because we are tired of the injustice towards unarmed Black men in our country. And if the elected officials, if mayors, state attorney generals, police chiefs are listening to the cry of we want justice, then it's important that we take a look at our more police reform throughout all of our police departments across America to make sure that the men and women that are sworn to protect the citizens of their cities do just that instead of actually killing them.
Well, Mayor Woodfin, thank you so much. If you have any updates on what's going on with the statue in your city, please make sure you come back and talk with us. We would love to have you. Chanel?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Al.